Coming up on First at 4, scams continue to be all too common across the Commonwealth. What the Attorney General says Kentuckians should watch out for. And one mountain team was still standing in the quarterfinals at the girls' Sweet 16 in Lexington. More on how they fared coming up.
Plus, spotty sprinkles are possible this evening, but more changes ahead for the weekend. Breaking those down next as First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
We begin this half hour with more on the death of a firefighter and longtime public servant in Southwest Virginia. Rocky Wood was killed trying to put out a 15-acre fire near the Hayside community, and it has left the community in mourning. Wood worked for the Virginia Department of Forestry. He was also the fire chief at Hayside Volunteer Fire Department and was vice mayor of the town. Those who worked with him are heartbroken, saying he died doing the job he was born to do, protecting his people.
Rocky got the dozer started, proceeded on an ATV to get out in front of the dozer and do some scouting to pick the easiest and best location to maneuver the dozer to complete its containment line. And in the process of doing that, unfortunately, Rocky had a fatal ATV accident.
Miller says Wood is irreplaceable. Hear more about his legacy of dedication and drive coming up tonight at 6. Frauds and scams are a multi-billion-dollar industry across the country, and statistics show year after year it hits the wallets of Kentuckians hard. This National Consumer Protection Week, Attorney General Daniel Cameron talked one-on-one with Garrett Weimer about how Kentuckians can protect themselves.
It is a growing trend and a frustrating one. The Attorney General's office says the dollars lost to scammers and fraudsters continues to rise across the country and Kentucky. Why it's so important, he says, for Kentuckians to be vigilant. The Office of the Attorney General says it received more than 2,000 reports of fraud last year, totaling nearly $32 million in losses. That's more than double the dollars reported lost the previous year.
At the end of the day, people's pocketbooks or the money that's in their bank accounts are at stake. And so we want to do everything we possibly can to make sure that we're protecting that.
According to the AG's office, the most common scams reported in Kentucky last year were business impersonation scams, identity theft, and online purchase scams. Kentuckians reported losing the most money to scams related to investments, real estate or rental properties, identity theft, romance and networking, and sweepstakes and lotteries. Officials say it's eye-opening to see just how much these savvy scammers keep evolving their methods. That's why they urge folks to be careful what you click on and skeptical of what you share.
We just want to make sure we equip people with as much information as possible so that they are not being scammed and taken advantage of.
And Cameron asks that Kentuckians who come across scams report them to the AG's office. At the Capitol, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
Officials say it's an especially timely message in the aftermath of last week's windstorm. Homeowners with damage can be especially vulnerable to construction and repair scams. The Letcher County Sheriff's Office had a busy day earlier this week. On Tuesday, the Sheriff's Office made 3 separate arrests on drug-related charges in the same day. The 3 men were hit with charges ranging from trafficking to possession, but deputies removed thousands of dollars of drugs from the streets. In 5 years, Sheriff Mickey Stein says his only 2 deputies have removed 7 pounds of meth from the streets of Letcher County. But despite the progress, he says the only way to battle against drugs is to battle addiction itself.
We're talking about the young individuals that have struggled with drug addiction for the last 2 or 3 years, and we're trying to prevent them from going from a first-time offender to a career criminal. That's why we're pushing rehab and stuff so much.
Sheriff Steins added that if someone does want help, the office's Care Before Cuffs program can help those battling addiction before they are arrested. We'll have more on how the Sheriff's Office is battling the drug problem tonight at 6.
Well, chilly and overcast, the name of the game throughout the region tonight. We'll continue to see maybe some of that drizzle and mist, but no big rain showers on the way for the most part as we head through tonight. There's the view from across the street from the WYMT studios. Black Gold Boulevard appropriately busy at this hour, 4:30. And let's go to the south and up the mountain, Buffalo Mountain, as a matter of fact, looking overcast there as well. We'll continue to see the overcast through the night. Most of the showers into portions of West Virginia, some of those there into parts of Mingo County, but that's about it. Temperatures remain low to mid 40s, close to the upper 40s in places where they may see just a touch in the way of some more sunshine. Near freezing tonight for many as we go zone by zone. Cumberland Valley near freezing, into the Kentucky River Valley maybe a tick above, but for the most part we remain rather cool tonight, even some upper 20s possible in the Big Sandy. In just a few minutes, I'll have the details on when some more showers move back in, and that's coming up. Steve?
All right, Evan, thanks. Entering today, the number of girls basketball teams playing for a state championship was 8, and one of our mountain teams was among the fray, fighting for one of the last 4 spots. WYMT Sports Director John Lowe joins us now with more on the action today in Lexington. John.
Steve, thanks. If there's been one team in the mountains that have been the cardiac kids of the tournament, it's been the North Laurel girls, and they'd have one more crack at that streak this afternoon. 3 of our teams made the trip to Lexington. 1 remains. North Laurel fighting for a spot in the Final Four, playing for Emily Sizemore. The Jags drew first blood. Brooke Nicholson gets the ball and drives into the paint for the layup right here. There she goes, in for the nice bucket off the corner right there. Nicholson in the paint again. She goes outside, hands off to the senior, Emily Sizemore, pulling up for the 3, and it is good. But the Cardinals came to fight. 8th grade star Kennedy Stamper from the top of the key right there. She's only 5 foot and knocked that one down on her own. Brianna Byers hands it to Anya Chestnut, but then gets it back right here and then gets the layup to fall. Cards by 14 at the half. Nicholson trying to claw back into this one. Her ball bounces off the glass and into the hands of Ciara Byers. She passes down to Stamper, who is working her way down the court. Goes overhead to Chestnut, and she will score. North Laurel outrun by the tough GRC Cardinals. 63-48 the final. 24 points from Brooke Nicholson, 15 points from Emily Sizemore in her final game as a Jaguar. Courtney Lane Brewer joins us live from Rupp Arena with more.
Hey, John, so much to be said about this North Laurel team. First region title in 4 years, a Miss Basketball candidate, and 2 performances on this court that prove that all of that hard work was worth it. After North Laurel pulled off a last-second win over GRC in the first round, they pulled off a last-second win in the first round and then had to get through GRC. The Cards took the lead about 5 minutes in, and that was where they stayed. North Laurel came up short to a team that Coach Mahan called one of their biggest challenges yet, and praised the effort the Lady Jags gave.
I think we can play with anybody in the state. I feel like that about my kids. We've had the leadership. We have the players. It's just a matter of now sometimes learning how to fight through some of the obstacles. George Archer Clark is a tough matchup for most people with their size and athleticism.
North Laurel finishes the season 30-7, and while the loss of senior Emily Sizemore will be felt on the court and in the hearts of the Lady Jag team, the youngsters that remain now know what it feels like to work to get to Rupp Arena, get here, and win. For now in Lexington, I'm Courtney Lane Brewer. Back to you.
Courtney, thanks, and thanks for all your hard work this week, and congratulations to the North Laurel Lady Jaguars on a great season. That concludes the girls basketball season, at least here in the mountains, but we've got 4 boys teams getting ready for their turn at Rupp Arena. We'll preview that coming up tonight at 11:10 on Sports Overtime. We hope to see you there. Steve?
All right, John, thank you, and we'll have more on the girls' Sweet 16 and a look ahead to tonight's UK game in the SEC tournament coming up in sports at 5:30 and 6. But next, here on First at 4, the clock springs forward. Sunday will tell you what you need to know in order to adjust to the time change.
Great, even less sleep. Showers work out for now. I'm just kidding, as we see some drier weather work in. Those details in a few.